It is 120 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about how to do all that prep work without getting crazy stressed about it. Because I feel like every camp has one person that is the most organised, and they end up taking on the lion's share of the work when it comes to organisation. Because some people just can't let things go, can't let other people deal with things. So first, make a basic list of everything that needs to be dealt with. Transportation, what you're going to do for shade and structures, what food you need to bring, grey water if you're having a shower, all of that kind of stuff. Anything that your group needs to sort out before you go, make a general list and don't go into detail. So putting transportation is enough. You guys need transportation to get there, and it doesn't matter at this point what that transportation is. You also want to include any skills you might need. So if you're renting an RV, someone needs to know kind of how all the tanks work and things like that. I like to use a Google spreadsheet for this, so all the items in the list are on a Google spreadsheet that is shared with the rest of my campmates. Then you're going to want to divvy everything up between the group. Who is going to be responsible for transportation? Who's going to be responsible for figuring out the shopping list or the meals? And if you all live close together and can meet up, that's obviously the ideal way to do it. But if you don't, my group uses WhatsApp. We just deal with everything on WhatsApp. And you want to kind of discuss the things because, even if Dave says okay, I'm responsible for transportation and his name goes next to it on the spreadsheet, Dave is probably going to need some information, how many people are coming exactly, where is everyone coming from, what kind of transportation, what budget, how much stuff are we bringing? And if Jane's dealing with food, she probably wants to know if there's any dietary requirements or what kind of expectation there is. Are your camp going to be doing full meals? Do you have things to cook on? What thing do you have to cook on? So that she knows what kind of food to get or what kind of meals to plan. You also want to work out what everyone is responsible for themselves. So you'll probably get a group shade structure, but probably everyone needs to deal with their own tent and their own sleeping bag. So make sure that everybody knows exactly what they are expected to provide for themselves and exactly what the group is going to provide as a whole. You probably want to set a group budget as well so that everyone is aware of how much money they're going to be putting into the pot and what available funds they actually have. Because, it's life. Not all of us are earning the same amount of money. Not all of us have the same amount of resources. One of your campmates might be really well off and he's like, no, I want the fanciest shower in the world. And everyone else is like, no, there is nothing in our budget for that. If you want that, that's on you. And the same thing applies when you're divvying up the tasks. Everyone has different schedules and demands. So you might have someone in your group that just really can't afford to put any time into organising anything big. And someone else might have tons of free time so they can take some of the workload off of that person. If someone else's name is next to an item on the list, that's their responsibility. Leave them to deal with it. Don't be trying to micromanage them. If you're doing that, you may as well have put your own name next to that item on the list. Just trust the rest of your group to do the things that they're supposed to, unless, of course, you know for a fact that, that person is not doing the thing they said they would. If you're using the spreadsheet to keep everyone on track or whatever it is that you're using, then make sure that everyone updates it when they have finished their task. If transportation is sorted, make sure that's marked on the spreadsheet. Make sure everyone is aware of exactly how that situation is being resolved. What transportation are you getting? How much is it costing? And is it going to work for the group? I think if you are a bit of an organizer, it can be hard to not take on too much, but really try and resist doing it. You're a group. Trust that the other members of your group are able to do things and that you don't need to do everything to make it successful. Burning Man is supposed to be fun, and part of the fun of it is preparing everything, even though sometimes it can seem like a pain. So don't make it stressful on yourself. Don't try and take on too much. Don't try and micromanage the other people in your camp. You're all a team, you're all a group. And to be honest, there's always going to be something that you forget, there's always going to be something that goes wrong. But these things tend to work themselves out. Maybe you get there and realise that no one actually learned how to put up a shade structure. Burning Man is the best place in the world to realise you can't put up your shade structure because you are surrounded by people with that knowledge. For sure, someone is going to help you figure out how to do it. Be honest with your group as well. If you are short for time, if you are struggling to get something done, Let everyone know in the group so that maybe someone can give you a hand, maybe someone can pick up some of the slack and help you out a bit. When a group's preparing for Burning Man, camp roles can start to come out. So if you become the lead organizer of your trip, chances are when you get to Burning Man, that role is going to stick. And everyone will expect you to be organizing everything. And maybe you don't want that kind of responsibility. So, keep that in mind if you are a very organized person and you do tend to lead the group a bit. Be aware that that may transfer over into Burning Man. And the group may end up looking to you quite a lot for decisions and answers. If you're first timers, make sure that everyone in your group reads the first timers guide, the survival guide, things like that. It's better if everybody reads that stuff for themselves instead of having one of you do it and trying to school everyone else on everything. Because again, it could end up with everyone looking to you or the person that takes on that role and being like, well, you never told us we couldn't bring glitter. Or you never mentioned that, player foot was a thing. My biggest advice is just take a deep breath and relax. There probably will be setbacks and panics. There will be things that are just a nightmare to deal with and other things that are just a complete breeze to sort out. But everything will be fine when you get there. So long as you have all your basics covered, you have, somewhere to sleep, you have water and food. Everything else is going to be fine. If you have anything that's very specific and maybe a bit hard to get hold of, then I would advise dealing with that yourself. If you only eat a very specific brand of gherkins, then maybe bring along some of those. Or if you have, a very specific tea that you drink every morning, deal with that yourself. As much as you can rely on other people, you could say to them, please make sure you get these very specific gherkins and these very specific tea bags. With those kind of things, it's just easier to deal with them yourself. So you're not worried about getting there and the person being like, oh no, they were out of stock at the supermarket, so I just didn't get them. Or I just got this alternative brand that you don't like. With spreadsheets for my group, we often have a few. So we'll have that one that's a list of who's doing what, and then we'll have one, a shopping list of all the food items, and then we'll have another list of kind of other items, sun cream and things like that. And usually the food shop is just done by a couple of people, but all those weird extra bits and pieces like maybe light, sun cream, bug spray, anything like that you want to bring. Normally people just will write their name next to things, because someone went to the pharmacy so they picked up sun cream for the group. Or, they're ordering lights on Amazon, so they've ordered a ton for the group. So I hope this was helpful, guys, and if any of the rest of you have any tips or suggestions or tricks on how to do some stress-free Burning Man prep, then let me know in the comment section below. And as always, if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi. Bye, guys.